future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
You don't have to be beautiful.
Perfect song. My guy. One more. We're taking selfies in here. I love this. Oh my gosh, I have a male model, a gorgeous male model, actor, etc. in studio, and he's taking selfies of himself, of me. I'm loving this. Thanks for the music, Kurt. Love it.
No problem.
We have a fun show going on today. In studio with me right now, I've got Rib Hillis. Hello, Rib.
Hello, how are you?
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for being part of my selfies.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take more later.
You gotta let people know what we're doing.
Yeah,
You know?
we're doing a show a little bit about entertainment, all the work that you've been doing as a model, as an actor, as a businessman, along with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, on the phone, we've got an incredible man that I've been reading up a lot about. Joe, are you there? Joe Cross. Some applause for Joe Cross.
I am here, Deborah. How are you? Thanks very much for having me on the show today.
And also in the studio, we have Rib Hillis. So Rib's just going to kind of join me as
Hi,
co-host.
Joe. Nice to chat with you.
So, Joe, why don't you tell us
Great
a little
to
bit
be
about
here.
you? I mean, you've got a book out. You've got some information out about how we can lose weight by juicing. I mean, and only you know better than anybody, because weren't you over 300 pounds and you decided to just hit the road, make some juice, and now look at you. You're gorgeous. Do we have a picture of him?
Yeah, we have a picture.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, look, I made a movie which was a pretty big hit on Netflix called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. That came out in 2011.
It was a comedy,
And,
obviously.
Yeah, fat. Right, it's called
Yeah.
Fat, Sick,
Yeah.
and Nearly Dead. And didn't you do two of them? You had 1 and 2. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I do. I have that second film, and also I just put a new movie out which hit Netflix last week called The Kids Menu, which is all about a great film for parents to help get their incredible ideas
Fantastic.
and ways to get their kids to eat more fruits and veggies.
Mm-hmm. Did you always like fruits and veggies? I'll tell you, my husband will not go near most fruits and veggies, and it's a real issue in my house. I have
What
three-
does he eat then?
Well, I have 3 boys, okay? The first 2 eat more like I do. I love the fruits and veggies and kind of lean meats. And that guy, the husband, and my youngest kid tends to be more cheeseburger and pizza kind of people. And it's very challenging. Now, no one's heavy in the family, thank goodness. But it's really challenging when somebody doesn't like that kind of stuff to get them to eat better. So were you always that veggie kind of guy?
Deborah, no way. I mean, I would say that, you don't get to 330, 340 pounds and
This
load
is
up
true.
on medication for debilitating autoimmune disease if you love your veggies,
This is
I
true.
mean, the bottom line is that the average American diet, and where I come from down in Australia, for every 17 calories we consume, just one of them comes from plants. The other 16 is from processed food and animal product. And, if you ask me, I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now on the road and out meeting people, and I don't think there is a clearer reason why we have such an epidemic of disease and suffering and depression and pain and misery out there in the Western world today, other than that's a big factor, that one just there. So the idea of juicing is it's a fun, exciting, interesting and tasty way. Now, you talk about your husband, and lots of men, I've met heaps of men that are similar to your husband. But what's funny is once they get a
He has
juicer
no
in front of
idea,
them,
has
once they put a whole bunch of different produce through it, you can actually make stuff that tastes pretty good. And it's a great way of supplementing what they wouldn't be eating maybe with their meals, but to get it through juice.
What is the benefit of drinking like a fresh juice as opposed to, let's say, a bottled juice or something?
Or even biting into an apple, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I think the point would be is that if everyone ate lots of apples, to Deborah's point, if everyone ate enough produce, let's say that we had this nirvana of 50% of all calories consumed came from fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, seeds, whole grains, then you probably wouldn't need to juice, okay? But the bottom line is we're not. So the idea of juicing can slip in to be a way of substituting and making it taste better, something different. Hey, us humans, we like things to taste differently. When you're talking about a bottled juice versus a fresh juice, depending on what bottled juice we're talking about, but most of them have been heated, it's gone through a process system to make it last longer. And really,
is that pasteurizing or what? I'm sorry? Is it pasteurizing? Is it like sterilizing it or something? Or
yeah, well, pasteurizing is heating it, right? It heats the juice, and what that does is that kills off the good stuff that the microbes like to eat. I mean, we're supposed to eat food that rots, right? And then the reason why food rots is that the microbes that we share this planet with, they're having, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on our food. So it's kind of like a little bit of a race to get to the good stuff. And so, if you Google 13-year-old cheeseburger, you'll see a burger that looks like it just came out of the oven like this morning, and it's 13 years old.
You need to show that to your husband.
He's on the show quite a bit. My husband's on the radio, and he's used to being, interviewed and whatnot. But there's almost nothing I can do to get him to just get off this pizza and cheeseburger diet. So I'm kind of looking to you for some support. And he's not a heavy guy at all.
Okay, well, the first thing I would do is I'd get him to watch my movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, because that's the movie that inspires people. I mean, it's very hard to, tell people what to do. I mean, Deborah, who loves being told what to do? Not many people, right?
I love telling people what to do.
Inspiring.
I do. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Say that again.
No, I'm just saying it's really about showing people rather than telling people. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that this movie has done. And, what I'm doing now, I'm out on the road. I'm coming to you from Phoenix today. I'll be speaking tonight in Barnes & Noble here in Phoenix. And there'll be 200 people that'll turn up, and there'll be incredible success stories. There'll be people coming for the first time. We spend 2 hours talking about how we can get our lives back on track. And a great way of doing that is like just taking 5 days out of your life and drinking nothing but juice. And I'm talking about not eating any food. I'm talking about supercharging your system with micronutrients, taking all the good stuff that's in plants and drinking it rather than eating it.
Okay, but what kind of encouragement can you give to some people who are like, what? I'm going to be drinking juice for 5 days? Because that's tough. A lot of people can't even get through day one.
Yeah, so I think the words of encouragement I would say is that their ancestors have done this. I mean, that's why we're the most successful species on this planet. We come from a history of feast and famine. But today's world, there's a feast on every corner. I mean, this has never, ever been like this for us humans in the last 70 to 80 years, the amount of condensed calories that we have that are so nutrient depleted. So I understand that it's hard.
High calories, but low nutrients. That's
a lot of junk.
It's high density of calories, but very low in nutrient density, right? So this is something that I know it's hard, but these people that are out there that are struggling, that are doing it tough by having lots of illness, inflammation, disease, obesity, whatever. They unfortunately, it's one of these situations, Deborah, where there's no pain, no gain. You have to take some pretty drastic action to get yourself back on track. And the good news is the body, after 3 days of juice, it breaks through the pain and the suffering. And, I've had over 100,000 people do this program. And, everybody, I won't say everybody, I'll say 99.9% of people who make it to day 4 feel the best they felt in a long, long time. So you just got to get through the first 3 days.
Now, how long did you juice for to go down from 300 pounds to, what do you weigh now? I mean, you're a good-looking guy, too.
Well, I was 340 at my highest. When I started my journey on the film, I was 309, and I lost 89 pounds in 60 days of drinking juice.
Just juice for 60 days, or did you supplement with
2 months, just juice.
Wow.
All I did was drink water filtered through plants, okay? Then I did 3 months of eating just whole food, and that was like a 5-month journey. I ended up dropping 100 pounds all up, got off all my medication, so I went down to like 220. I now sit around 250. I don't need to run around the shower to get wet. I'm still a solid guy. I'm a 6'2" guy. Right?
Why did you start this? What obviously you had some illnesses, you were on medication.
He was gigantic.
But what prompted you to take on this journey?
Pretty simple. I turned 40 and I went, wow, this is me at 40. How am I going to be at 50? How am I going to be at 60? I mean, crikey, if I don't do something about it, I may not even make 60.
And did somebody educate you on how to do this, or is this something just that you had...
No, I just use logic. I mean, you got two things that are going for us, right? Why are we fat? Why are we sick? So I figured that 70%, well, I didn't figure, I heard on the World Health Organization, it's 70% of all disease is caused by lifestyle choices. So I figured, well, I'm sick. I've been on meds for 7 or 8 years for this terrible autoimmune disease that's ruining my life.
Wow.
And it's meds every morning, meds every night. You wouldn't wish this pain on anybody. So I thought, maybe I've got a 70% chance that I'm doing this. So I thought if I went to plants only, that would possibly help that. And I'd done 20 years of smashing myself. So I thought I'd give myself, a long stint, like 2 years of just eating plants.
So,
then, because I was like 100 pounds heavier than I should be, I quickly worked out when I started reading and listening and learning was that the fat really isn't a negative. It's a positive. It's like the body storing up energy, saving it up for lean times.
Right. My husband always likes to say,
there's no lean times coming to America. There's no lean times coming to Sydney, Australia. So we've got to create our own lean times. So that's where drinking the juice from the plants is how I got started for the first 2 months. I was going to do 2 years, but guess what? After like 5 months of this, 2 months of juice, 3 months of eating, I was off all meds and I was good. So I kind of like got out of my what I call fruit and vegetable prison early.
When you say whole foods that you started eating, you're talking just foods that were not processed whatsoever. What about carbs and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm talking, when I say whole foods, I'm talking about fruit, vegetables, nuts, beans, seeds, and whole grains. I'm talking about quinoa, I'm talking about chickpeas, I'm talking about delicious food. And look, and it's very difficult to not be processed 100%, but I'm talking about not having stuff that's got flour and wheat and sugar and refined
That
carbohydrates.
actually was one of my questions. I recently got sort of tuned into it's kind of paleo or primal diet, and wheat and grains are not on that. Animal products are, but I actually wanted to ask you 2 questions one about wheat and also about animal products. What's your feelings on those?
Yeah, okay. So I think that's a good question. And these ones constantly come up, as well as you can throw in dairy there as well. And I think that we are our best judges of ourselves as to how we react to certain foods. We're not all the same. We're not all exactly the same. But one thing I'm pretty confident we all need to do is consume lots of like micronutrients, which are only found in plant food. But when it comes to animal product, some people perform really well on it, and others it slows them down. So I think it's a really personal thing.
Yeah, it depends upon the animal product too, right? I mean, do you do?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm a meat eater.
Animal products is we don't want to have processed animal products. Okay, like processed meat, your pastrami's and your salamis and these things.
Hot dogs.
Well, I gotta have a dog at a ball game, though, right? I mean, you got to give in sometimes. I love a Dodger dog. Sorry, but like that's you got to give in.
Yeah, that's another question. Are you like a purist? Do you hold yourself strict, or do you find that it works for you to sort of consume like a hot dog at a ball game?
Yeah,
100%. I'll have a hot dog with you anytime. I'm an 80-20 guy.
Gotcha.
My view.
Otherwise, what's the fun in life if you cannot have a hot dog at a ball game? For goodness sakes.
Exactly. It's not worth living, right? You've got to have fun. You've got to get out there and enjoy yourself. And my theory or my philosophy that I share when people want to listen is that I don't think being extreme in all things works. But I think there are certain things that if you look at yourself in what I call the house of mirrors, you get in there and have a good hard look at yourself and be very honest. There are certain things, and I've identified a couple in my diet that I just can't do. So Coca-Cola for me, like soda, that's one area I just can't go near.
Why? Is it because it's a trigger? Because you want more of it?
Well, because because my history of it, like, I was drinking 20 cans a day when I was in my 20s, I've got like this history of a relationship with it that is like, it's just not a healthy relationship for me. But that might work for you. I mean, Deborah, you might be able to have a Coke and enjoy yourself, and that's fabulous. So I don't demonize Coca-Cola as such. I don't have anything against the company or the brand or the product, but I just know for me that it's something that I'm not able to control. So I steer away from that, and I steer away from, quick service food, like fast food. I don't go near that food. But,
okay, hang on.
If I come over to your...
Hang on. Do you ever come to L.A.? Do you know In-N-Out Burger? I mean, this is my one, like, do you like In-N-Out Burger?
I've been to In-N-Out Burger 4 times.
If you can't do In-N-Out Burger and Dodger Dogs, I'm off this thing. So it's like I've got to have my little, I've lost a lot of weight too. I've been enormous after my 3rd kid. It was absolutely preposterous. And I took myself off of pretty much off of breads and pastas, and that is my Coca-Cola. Like when I have some bread and pastas, forget it. Then the next day I want more, and I'll find that I'm like looking through the fridge, anything I can find. I mean, everybody's got a trick. I mean, look at you. If you could see this, you're in amazing shape, okay?
Thank you.
He's a model and an actor and looks every bit of it. Did you ever have a day where, you were heavier and needed to really work on it? And his wife is on Dancing with the Stars. So need I tell you the kind of shape these people are in?
Well, I think I've been very fortunate. You described the types of food you like to eat, Joe, and I enjoy those. I like
See, I do too.
I like unprocessed food. I love raw fruits, vegetables. I personally do very well on meat. I like lean, unprocessed meat. I'm not a hot dogs or salami, pastrami kind of guy, so I eat that way. My Russian mother-in-law has been in town, and she makes everything from scratch. So even if it
Don't
is
they
like
always? I swear
if
to
it's a
God.
pimeni, which is like a little dumpling, every piece that's in there is, she chops up the meat herself. So there's no preservatives, and I find it works well for me. Whereas if I go somewhere and have I don't know, like a burrito out of a bag at a 7-Eleven because you're on a photo shoot or a job and you can't eat anything else, whatever.
My lips will blow up
I
from
feel
the sodium.
so awful for like a day afterwards because of all the crap that's in it. And I love what you said about 80-20 because I've gone through extreme moments in my life and I end up the pendulum swings back, and I end up, usually if I try to get super lean or super muscular, it ends up swinging back. So
I'd ask Riv a question about his family and upbringing. So, what was the culture like in your family when you were growing up when it came to food?
I don't remember it being we didn't live our lives around food. My mom did all the cooking. Most of the stuff was made at home. It was she did a lot of pot roasts and things like that.
Pot roast.
She
I
did
love pot
stroganoff. Wasn't heavy in salads.
What's your background? Do you mind if I ask your ethnic background?
German Irish.
You're German. I'm Italian, so pasta was always a little bit of a part of my upbringing. Even if we had like the veal next to it, pasta was always a little part of it. So that's why
I played football, and I was I was about 40 pounds heavier than I am now. But it was mostly muscle, and I was eating so much. So I think I have a slight aversion to food because I remember eating and just trying to cram so many calories down my body. And I'm not that big of a guy, so I think I got very lucky. I definitely don't seek food for comfort.
Oh, there we are. We have a picture of you in your football days.
I had
Wonderful.
no neck.
No neck. Well, you've got your entire football thing on there. So, we have another guest.
I
who's
also
coming
got
in.
into juicing, Joe. The only thing I have with juicing, the only issue I have with juicing, is it's kind of messy, like cleaning up afterwards. Like you know how Apple products like your iPhone and your iPad and your computer are also slick, and I want Apple to design a juicer that's just slick and smooth, and it's like
Okay, so there's a
That's
juicer
the
out
next
there for you
product
now.
for Apple.
There's one called Juice Zero. If you can afford it, it looks like Apple made it. You can go and find that. That's about $1,000. That's called a Juice Zero. Okay.
Okay, I will look for that because I like
mate Doug Evans
juices.
out of
I
Silicon
like
Valley has
juicing,
just
but
created that.
the whole like process, it's like, oh, do I really want to go through
Wait,
this?
Joe, tell me this product that you've got that you're talking about.
No, it's not my product. There's a buddy of mine, a guy called Doug Evans, coming out of Silicon Valley, has created the do-it-yourself juice machine, no cleanup. It's called Juice Hero, and you can Google it, like Juice and Hero all in one word. So Juice Hero. Now it's about $1,000, and you can only buy like $5 or $6 satchels off him, and that's how you can make your fresh green juice. But if it's for the 1%ers right there, but that's for the 1%ers. Now I speak to the 99%ers, and that's my audience. Now, a good juicer will run you about $150 to $190, that sort of price point. And I got a tip for everyone out there is that you can make your juice on a Sunday night, and that juice will last you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Juice will last 72 hours if you put it in a mason jar and keep it tight and refrigerate it. So you only need to do a couple of cleanups per week, and that's a tip that a lot of people don't realize. They think that every time they've got to make a juice, they've got to get all the machinery out,
Interesting.
make one drink, and then clean up. That's not necessary at all.
Let's say you're still lazy or you've got no time, whatever excuse you want to use, and you really want to go and buy one. What would you buy? Is there a brand out there or 2 or 3 that you recommend? You know what I like?
The bottle juices, you mean?
Yeah, like I sometimes will go to Starbucks and they'll have Evolution. Do you know that brand? They're pretty good.
I know it very well. And
Sorta,
Evolution
kinda, or
and
no?
Shoot, these ones are what's called HPP. That's been under a hyperbaric chamber.
Oh, that's
not
frightening
been
me.
cooked.
Okay. So what does that mean?
That's good stuff. That's good.
Oh, it's good.
So if we talk about those little, that little bacteria that's sort of living in you and me and all over the place, that bacteria, when we split open like an apple and that, incredible Mother Nature's seal of skin is perforated, what happens? The apple starts the bacteria getting in and having a feed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when we juice, that's the same thing that happens because we're splitting open the plant and exposing it to the microbes. So now what Evolution and Suju and a number of these other brands, Blueprint and that you can find at Whole Foods, what they do is they do the cold pressing. So they do what you do at home with your juice. But before they put it out in the store, they put it in a huge big chamber and they take the pressure of the bottle of juice to 98,000 pounds per square inch, which is the same as going to the deepest part of the ocean times 6. That's a massive amount of pressure. And under that pressure, all the microbes that are inside the juice and in that little air part on top of the lid, they're nullified, neutralized. And so now you get that juice lasting about a month.
Ooh, this is complicated for me. It's like,
that's
whoa.
the best juice
I don't think about
on the road.
All right, that's good to know, but I don't think about that stuff when I'm just picking up my juice. But it's good to know. All right, so up next, what are you doing next? You're in Arizona. You're on a tour.
Yeah, I'm on my book tour, The Juice It to Lose It, 5-day plan to get all the people out there that are just a bit nervous and scared. They want to get cracked on this. And what I want to see people doing is freebase in Mother Nature. I find that most people that are in trouble, they've got two relationships that are broken, the ones with themselves and the ones with their plans. So if we can get those two relationships cracking, then that's great. My new movie is out on Netflix, The Kids Menu. I'm excited about that. I've been on tour for 3 months, so at the end of this month, I'm going to put my feet up in New York and get back in the gym and get back into eating healthy. It's a lot hard. It's hard on the road.
Sure. It's really hard on the road, isn't it? I always try and at least, stay at a place that might have a gym or at least that I could walk to something, but it's tough.
Well, I think what you were mentioning too, like food is such a huge part of our fitness and our health. And a lot of people do one part, the gym part, and then, there's a lot of people in LA in particular that are very heavy in the gym. But if you don't have a base in your food and a good diet, as I'm sure you know, Joe, and you probably tell people, it's not going to work.
100%. Look, one thing that I realize a lot of is that we sort of have this problem in the media of looking at bigger people and saying they're fat, therefore they're unhealthy. We look at a thin person and say they're thin, therefore they're healthy. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of people that I know that are lean, what we call skinny fat, and they're also not eating enough nutrition. You can have a diet of cigarettes and coffee. You're not going to put on weight, but boy, your cells aren't going to be happy.
Joe Cross, thank you so much for being here. And your website is?
Rebootwithjoe.com.
Reboot.
For anyone out there, rebootwithjoe.com, and I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Joe the Juicer.
You know what you should do? You should have like a Joe challenge or something. Get 5 people or so and see how well they do on your juice diet. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? You can include me if you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We did a 5-day challenge in January, and 28,000 signed up. So it was pretty awesome.
And how did that go? That must have been great.
Oh, it was unbelievable. 13,000 finished of the 28,000 over the 5 days. That gives you an idea of the attrition rate when people start. So, we got close to half all the way through.
Okay. Well, thanks again for being with us, and we'll talk to you again when you come to LA. Will you come and visit us?
I'd love to come in, Deborah. Thank you very much for having me. And Rib, see you later, mate.
Thank you very much. Bye.
I love that accent.
Bye now.
Don't you love his accent?
I do love the Australian accent. Have you ever been to Australia?
We travel a lot. No, it's one of the
Australia
few places.
Australia is a great place for you and I to go because we get to go down there, speak the native tongue, but we're exotic. Because we understand Joe, and he's so cool and sexy. He's got that exotic accent, and that's us down there. People are like, "Oh, you have the greatest accent."
Do they really? Because I'm in London, and nobody stops me and says, "Oh my God, you're American." I don't get that in London.
I promise you, in Australia, I got commented on my accent so often. I thought, this is so cool. I'm that guy here.
But isn't it true? You could be English or you can be Australian, and no matter what they say, they could say, "Oh, this looks like a pile of shit," and somehow it'll just sound okay.
No, it does. So go down to Australia and say that looks like a pile of shit, and people will think you're sexy.
I will do that, and I will take you with me. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you're doing and what you're into. We have another guest too that we're going to get to in a minute, and she talks about not just working from the inside, but from the inside out. So she's really interesting as well. But
well, it's funny. This is very prescient for me right now because I've been aware of it, like a Paleolithic diet, and I've been aware of this sort of like a primal diet, and I kind of have been doing it, but I decided, okay, I'm going to try this, and I've cut out all grains. So I don't go have pasta. I had chicken parmesan the other day. I like meat, and I'll eat the meat. I'm not afraid of
how
fats.
about the cheese?
I'm not afraid of cheese. I'm okay with dairy. I like milk. I think like Joe was saying, everyone their own. I was gonna give this a shot with the wheat, and it hasn't really bothered me. The research that I've done says your body will then use the simple carbohydrates will start breaking them down and storing them in fat. And if you don't have them available, it'll start going for the fat to make energy. And the other day I only ate breakfast and I was so busy I didn't get to eat until at night, and I didn't have like a big spike in my energy. It was just a constant. And I was like, maybe we're on this.
Maybe it's working.
Yeah, I definitely am a believer in the idea that we've been around for a million years or so, and as a species, and our diet changed recently, and certainly in today, like with all the fast food and crap we have, like a chemical. What if my 2.5-year-old, well, if a 4-year-old can't pronounce it, then I shouldn't be eating it. You don't want it in there.
Yeah. I just have a thing about everything processed. It has to go through a machine. It turns into like mulch, and then it ends up some piece of pasta
But they add a bunch of stuff that wasn't there to begin with to preserve it or supplement. They add more vitamins. Like, I don't need that. Go give me a cow and I'll drink its milk, and then I'm gonna eat it, and I don't know, go eat an apple. Like simple stuff.
Well, you know what? That actually sort of speaks to our next guest. You want to go to her, and then we'll talk a little more about you, of course, and your career and what you're doing.
Oh, we
and
don't have to talk about me.
Oh, but I want to. And your gorgeous, amazing wife on Dancing with the Stars. I'm so jealous. I want you to know I've always wanted to be a guest on Dancing with the Stars. I can dance. If you want to put a little music on, I can do it. And I'm thinking, don't they want someone with like an amazing, podcast on there? A podcaster is what I'm saying.
The show's still around. So.
The show is still around, so I got to get my stuff over to the producer.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But right now, Lauren, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Lauren, pronounce your last name for me.
Rashap.
Okay, I'm having you do that because most likely I will not pronounce it clearly.
Okay.
So
Nobody
thank you.
does.
Lauren with Lauren Healthy Living. Thank you for being here.
Lauren Living
it's
Healthy,
funny.
but that's
Lauren
okay.
Living Healthy. What did I say? I even get them, backwards.
It's okay.
We were talking on the way here, and the traffic was outstanding today. I barely made my own show, I will tell you. And so it would have been interesting if I was late, if you were late and you were late. Kurt would have been doing the show by himself. But here we are. So thank you for making it
Thank you
through.
for
I think that
having me.
might have been an accident on the freeway. So tell me a little bit about what you do, because what you do is you sort of go from the inside out, and everything you do is organic, and it's wonderful.
Yes.
You've got skin products, and I mean look at her skin. Isn't it incredible?
Thank you.
She's glowing.
Isn't
Thank
she?
you.
Now, as a guy, do you use a lot of
give
these
you a
products too, or will you be bringing it home to your wife, who's incredibly beautiful?
No,
You don't do anything.
You know what I use is coconut oil.
You do?
Then-
Okay.
Here, give this to your wife.
My wife uses
Yeah.
everything. Yes.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
wonderful? And I
Yeah.
think you gave that to me once
Yeah,
before.
I did.
I love this stuff, and
This
you can
stuff is
eat
amazing.
it. You
Yeah.
can eat it.
Yes.
Okay, so very briefly, you work from the inside out about what
do.
you're putting into your body and also what you put on your
Exactly.
body. So tell us what
Exactly.
you've got here.
So basically, just a little background. I wrote this book 3 years ago, and it took me about 5 years to condense it from 250 pages
And it's
to 100. So my goal was to give people a program that could kickstart not only their metabolism, but their ability to clear out parabens and toxins from their food supply and from their skincare. And
Isn't it beautiful? I mean, it looks good.
so vibrant and,
Yeah.
and
Thank
yummy.
you.
I don't know if anyone can see this, but that's just like
Thank
the
you.
most colorful, amazing looking display of food. We got some berries and lemons and limes.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Olive
Don't you
oil.
want to stop? And, we should have brought some food here and sampled it. Next time, that's what we'll do.
yeah, I do have a food line too, and it's you were talking about the paleo line and the Paleolithic diet, and I have experimented with all the diets. I used to work with Barry Sears, who wrote the Zone Diet, and it was kind of my first entree.
Yeah, I
into
mean, they
this
got you
notion.
involved after
Yeah.
reading about and hearing about what you're
Yeah.
doing. They were so impressed.
Yes.
So
So when they contacted me to do the Zone Diet to their clients out here on the West Coast, I thought, well, the first interesting principle, having been a vegan prior for 10 years and having been sick as a dog for those 10 years and not really knowing the root cause of that illness, which was an overabundance of grain. I am also grain-free, and I've never felt better, but I'm also gluten-free. So, just to kind of address what you're talking about, that gluten doesn't affect you, that you seem to be okay with it.
I'm okay. I think I have
Yeah.
I haven't started the sort of paleo primal diet because I feel as though I need to. I just like, that makes sense. I want to
makes
try
sense.
it.
It makes
It
sense
yeah.
because it hasn't been
It's-
processed and
yes.
put through stuff.
Yeah.
But again, very briefly, so
Yes.
from the inside,
Yes.
the way you
So-
teach
right.
people to eat
Yeah.
is
So my whole approach to nutrition is a little bit backwards. And in that, I believe that everybody supplements what they're not getting. So if you
Interesting.
understand what goes into your food and what vitamins and nutrients, so when someone comes into my office and says, okay, put me on a diet, and I'm like, I'm the wrong person. I don't do diet. Diet does not work. But
No.
what I will do is I will teach you about the nutrients that your body needs based on, I am a research analyst too, based on your blood profile, based on a micronutrient analyst. So I could look at your blood work and say, you know what? You do have a little bit of a gluten sensitivity, but you're okay with it. You don't have celiac. So try it for a few weeks, and then we'll pull it out of your diet and see if there's any noticeable difference in how you feel. So you might not get the classic signs of bloating, constipation, or diarrhea. Sorry about that.
But for somebody like me who
Yes.
has, I don't have any celiac or anything.
Yes.
But when I do eat bread or pasta, I feel like
Do you get bloated?
kind of like Professor
Yes.
Clump. All of a sudden, there it went.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I just blow
Yeah.
up. So what is that saying? What does that speak
That
to?
means that you're insensitive.
So insensitive,
yeah.
okay.
So what happens then is, doing your blood work, you will be able to see some markers that might look at some of those sensitivities, and you might have cross-react. I don't want to get too technical, but cross-reactivity. to
How
other
do you get
foods.
this blood work done, and why isn't it done like in your everyday?
Because
as a
your
doctor?
insurance doesn't cover it.
No, not just that. Don't you find that what doctors do is it's very clinical, sort of what they're doing and they're learning in medical school.
Yes.
But what needs to be done, is very often very different.
Right.
They'll take your blood work to make sure that you're okay and not dying.
Right.
But they really won't say, I think you have a gluten,
No,
you're
you
insensitive.
have. See, this is again going back to what I teach people that come into my practice: is you need to know how to advocate for yourself when you talk to your doctor. Doctors will not order those nutrient panels because typically they don't get paid for them. Your insurance won't cover it unless you have very good insurance. Are you an actor?
Yes.
So
Anna models and I told you his
have good
wife is on
yeah.
Dancing with the
Right.
Stars.
So you have great insurance.
Oh
Yes, I
yes,
know
you're
that.
SAG
You
You have
after,
ama-
right?
yes. So
Yeah.
SAG insurance covers a micronutrient
I didn't know
panel.
that.
I should do that
Yes,
just so
do it
I
all.
know.
Yes, you have
Again,
to know.
it's not that I feel as though there's something going wrong that I need to deal with.
Yeah, it's
later
better
on,
to just
but
know.
Just
if
to
you
know.
need to know.
Information is power, and a lot of people are afraid of information. I also recommend the 23andMe.
20. What's that?
The 23andMe, they're starting to advertise on television for
What
this
is that?
thing. It's a gene profile, and it tells you what your DNA, what's in your DNA.
That would be incredibly helpful because you can tell basically where your ancestors come from and what
It's
works for you.
Since you're into the whole Paleolithic thing, you'd be fascinated by
But
it.
isn't that different than, very often you could send in your hair sample and they'll
different.
determine. So that's different. This
All
is different
different.
what you're talking about.
All different.
Right?
This is literally a saliva test. And it's something that the consumer can now order for the first time in the last 10 years.
23andMe?
The 23andMe.
We have to remember that.
Yeah.
The 23andMe.
It's fascinating. Now, what unfortunately tends to happen is I have clients who do the test and come in and freak out. Oh my God, I have BRCA gene, which is the breast cancer gene, or I have this, or I have that, or I have high markers for Alzheimer's. And I said, this is this is just showing the profile or a tendency or what's in your genealogy.
Right. What someone before you may have had.
Yes, but what Barry Sears talks about, and he's the originator of the zone diet, he said that we can change the way our genes express themselves. We can't change the genes, but we can change the expression.
Sure, you
That's
can
very
you can
interesting.
keep them from sort of turning on or off kind of thing.
That's it. It's the on and off switch. You took the words out of my mouth. It's an on and off switch. So
This is the next phase of I think of science, humans taking care of
Yes.
themselves. It's got to be, and not.
It
And
is.
then I'm so sorry that Joe had that problem, but getting pumped with steroids to compete against an issue he has, and it turns out it was his diet. I mean, that's good for him for finding out, and good for him putting that word out there.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
have to tell you, though, in our country, But don't you find that this is something that I think is very well received out here in New York, Chicago, Miami? But if you travel through the middle of the country, I noticed it, and very recently, and just as a
What would you like,
journalist,
chicken fried steak or chicken fried steak?
and I can never find anything to eat. I really end up with the wilted lettuce at the end of the buffet
Yes, it's
because
awful.
it's
It's
very
awful.
different. How do you get this message out to people who really need to hear it?
Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm speaking in front of large groups.
Good.
And I'm trying to get my message out on, social media. I'm trying to kind of up my message because this is the next wave, not of nutrition, it's longevity. It's completely longevity. It's beyond health and wellness. It's the next phase because we are getting bombarded on a daily basis with so many toxins. The environmental estrogens, we're just getting
What environmental estrogens? What are those?
estrogens are in the food supply. So
Why would
So if you're going to
estrogens
start
be-
growing,
why would
look,
estrogens
if you're going
be
to
in the
start
food
growing
supply?
breasts, then
So if
that's
you
your
start,
problem.
if you start getting their breasts, you'll
goodness.
know. They're just all the chemicals and all the GMOs. Everything's getting cross-contaminated. So, and I don't want to be a doom and I don't want to be a doom.
Yeah, don't get too complicated with this. Let's make it more, a little
let's be fun.
basic and
Let's
more
have
more
fun.
easy,
Here,
so that
can I-
people will go, oh, this is why I want to do it. All right, so from the inside,
From
you're
the
saying
inside.
get yourself tested, do clean
Yes.
foods, and let's say
Right.
someone wanted to hire you, or at least need to learn about some of the
Yes.
foods that you would suggest they eat. What would you
Yes.
do with them?
Well, if someone wants to work with me, basically what I love to do is initially take a complete health and wellness intake.
Okay.
And that not only includes, the diet, but I look at blood panels. I also look at what their daily regime is, how much they exercise. Are they meditators? Because stress, as we know, is one of the number one components of aging. So if your diet is
Well, then I'm surprised I'm not dead. I mean, with all the stress I've had. Remember the time I was
Yes.
at your house,
Yes.
and unfortunately, my dad had
Yes.
literally just passed away, right?
Yeah.
And I remember running out of your house trying to have to do something or
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
and talk about stress. And I've had quite a bit of it the past couple of years, so I'm glad I'm still standing.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you do that, and
Yes.
again, very briefly, because I
Yes.
do want to talk to Rib a little bit
Yes.
about.
So then what I do is I typically put them on a 3-day cleanse. And unlike your first guest,
Joe, yeah.
I was a fanatic juicer, and I destroyed my metabolism. I got irritable bowel syndrome and diverticulitis.
But to his point, it
Yes.
depends upon each person.
It depends.
Yeah.
I am an extremist, so I took that to the frickin' nth degree.
Yeah.
Okay. I got nutty. I did it for like 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. So I have for the average person who has really good balance and control and knows how to be moderate. It's a great way to start. But I start everyone with a 3-day kickstart cleanse, and it's individualized. I believe in individuality because everyone has a different profile.
Yeah.
You're not like the other model who's walking down the runway or actor, even though you're as fit as the other one. You have a completely different genealogy, a completely different blood profile.
And then through this, then you suggest foods for them to eat
Yes.
and to do that. Now,
but the bigger thing is educating them on exactly what vitamins and nutrients are in every bite they eat.
yeah, because also that makes you feel better. If you're deficient in D, you got to get some D, because if you're
Right.
deficient in something, I
Yes.
feel like then you end up picking it up somewhere else. Again, also what Joe was talking to. Now, what about some products you have to put on the outside?
Yes, exactly. So part of this whole program is beauty from the inside out. And again, you can eat as well as I recommend in this book or in some of the dietary programs. But if you're putting, all the parabens and sulfites on your skin and the mineral oils that are just full of petrochemicals, you might as well forget it. We absorb 60 to 70% of everything we put on
What
our
about
skin.
hair dye? God help me without
Oh,
my
God help me. But there's organic hair dyes.
I know, but they
Yeah.
last like 2 days.
No, they last. I'll tell you about a couple.
You'll
good
have to
ones.
give me
Yeah,
a few of
I'll give
them.
you a
I mean,
couple.
I
I'm
end
gonna have
up.
to stop too then, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no,
but
because
your color's so good.
yeah, you look. I'd love to know
Love
who
the
your
color.
colors.
Yeah, I love the color. So I want to just give you a couple little samples. So again, these product lines launched about 2 to 3 weeks ago. I'm thinking about taking them wider and bigger with a company, but I'm not quite sure yet. So again, everything here is edible.
So I could put the stuff on my face and then go like that and lick it. Is that what you're saying? Let me have some.
So
Something
can you give
I
a
can
little
eat.
sample?
So what would I do
And
with
then I'll
this
spray
thing?
this on all you guys. So basically, that's the sugar scrub. Well, you can say what's so great about it.
Where do I put it?
Put it on your skin or on your hands, or you
I
don't.
want to
Or on
taste it.
my
I'm
skin,
hungry
I
after
bet.
talking about.
It's really good. It's really good on your lips. It's a really good exfoliation.
Yeah, I just needed to.
And what's
dip
different
in
about
once, 'cause
the
this is his.
products? I mean, everyone can say what's the big deal? It's coconut oil.
Yeah.
But I source everything from small farmers, so everything's sustainable, and nothing has been.
I love that.
And nothing's been processed at all. So the difference between the coconut oil you buy in the store and this coconut oil is this is wet milled. It's never put under any form of heat whatsoever. So it feels a little grainier, and people go, this doesn't feel like the coconut oil that I'm cooking with, because it ain't. It's totally a different consistency. And so then I use the raw sugars. I also use a lot of Himalayan sea salt. Everything that's in the book, all the foods that are in every single recipe are in the skincare. My scrub is made with chia seeds. So the omega-3s, when they blow up, they become like a boba. Do you remember the boba craze? And you can actually just kind of rub it across into your mouth and get your omega-3s after you're done with it. And it actually, the pores absorb, as I said, 60 to 70%. So those omega-3s go into your skin.
I have to take some of these products and really try them,
Yeah,
and
'cause you didn't
really
before?
just I
Yeah,
didn't, and
I
I
brought you
need
this.
to try them
Yeah.
and
You
really
look
see.
amazing.
She has the most beautiful skin.
Of course, and
Now,
the picture on her book is incredible too.
Vibrant
'Cause the other
skin
thing
at
I love
any age, isn't it?
Is how happy she looks in this picture.
and did you catch the orange, or did it go flying on the
It's
floor?
actually a Myers lemon from my tree.
It's beautiful. Now let me ask you something, Rib.
Yes.
Do you practice these kinds of regimes when you're home? Do we have a picture of him with his gorgeous
Yeah,
wife?
let me see your wife because you're on Dancing. She's
Elena.
let me see who she
Please
is.
say her last name for me because
Grinyenko.
She's
Grinyenko.
gorgeous. Wow.
Listen to, please, I
Stunning.
recognize her
And you
from.
have children?
Grinyenko. I have 2 children with her, and I have 2 kids from a previous marriage. I have 4 kids. I'm an honorary Mormon. Apparently.
Yeah, you are.
So
love
do
it.
you must practice this kind of healthy eating and healthy
Look at
healthy
that
lifestyle.
group. What a gorgeous
Oh wait,
group.
oh
That's
beautiful.
all
That's your
my
whole
kids.
family.
That's all the kids. That's all 4 of them.
Now
I-
can we
again,
show like his modeling
man.
shot, please?
Yeah.
Because when I first saw
You
it,
sent me a picture
I was
in, like,
practically passing it
underwear.
around.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you know,
Oh my
it's,
God.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, now how do you stay that fit? How does
Yeah, what
anyone
is your-
stay
what do you
that
do?
fit?
You know, my mom sent me an email this morning saying how my sister had commented. She's like, "Oh, Rib, he works so hard to stay in shape, but he does. It's amazing, amazing." And she said to me, sent it to me, and it was actually weird because I don't think about it. It's what I do.
It's what you
I
do.
say. Some people can sit at their computer and or get their taxes done and do that stuff. You can't put a gun to my head to do that, but I like to wake up early and I like to work out.
Work
and I
out,
like to
stay
be
fit, and put good
I
stuff
like
in your
to
body.
do active things. I like to eat fresh, raw, unprocessed foods. I mean, I
So it's
can eat.
natural.
I can eat a pizza, but I like to tend to. And so over the course of my life, I'm 45. Over the course of my life, I spend more time living that way, living kind of paleo than I otherwise. And so I'm sort of the byproduct of years of stuff. I'm the same size I was. Actually, I was bigger in high school because I
Yeah,
played
because
football.
you played football. So let's talk a little bit about some of the work that you've done. I mean, you're well known for being a well-known working model. You've worked for whom? Who've you done runway with?
Well, back in the day, I worked for all the European designers:
Armani.
Versace, Armani, Hugo Boss, Gianfranco Ferré. I've done, I've done a lot of stuff for like catalog. I've done Saks. I've done Sears, Kmart. There's a not Skechers, Crocs. My family was in a Crocs store the other day, and my brother came around the corner, and he's like, "Holy crap, Mom! Guess who's here?" She's like, "Who?" She goes, "Rib's here." She's like, "Rib's here," and it was
Isn't
just
that
like
fun?
my poster.
Fun.
Oh my God!
They were in
so it wasn't
upstate
just
New
your
York.
feet. You've done the whole thing, not just.
Yep, and
And
so,
then television-wise, you've been.
I've been
Done
had
a
a
lot
very
of
diverse
stuff.
career. I did Extreme Makeover Home Edition, so then there's sort of the reality genre and hosting. I've hosted shows for.
So you're also very handy.
I can. I
yeah,
do
what did
build.
you do on that? So you're like a
built a
tools.
house. He built
He's
a
like a
freaking
tools
house.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Right,
him. He
I
looks
know.
like a
That's
tools
what,
guy.
in
I want
fact,
him to
before
build
I
my
came
house.
here,
He
I
can
was
give
at
me-
my dance studio, and I don't teach dance. I can dance a lot better than I ever thought I could after 2 years owning the studio. But I was doing all the building at our dance studio this morning, and I was
And the
painting.
name of that studio is.
It is LA Ballroom Dance Studio. We're on Ventura Boulevard over in Sherman Oaks.
and you and your gorgeous, talented wife started that, didn't
yeah,
you?
my wife's a world champion, which I don't know too many, or I didn't rather. And I'm thinking, you're of all the people in the world, you're the best at the thing you do.
Right.
For 2 years, she was a world champion.
She's
So,
stunning. I want to see another.
She's
photo of her.
amazing.
I want to watch the show. I haven't seen it. in
But
years.
tell me about how that
Stunning.
business is doing. So the ballroom
LA
dancing.
Ballroom Dance is doing fantastic. We've had it for 2 years. We have an amazing team in place right now, which is anybody who runs a business and anyone who's listening, I have so much respect for you, whether it's a tiny little 2-person operation or whether it's a giant corporation.
So hard.
It's hard. There's so much more that goes into
No
business
matter
owning.
who you are and what you've done, it's hard. You've got to get the word out there. You've got to
Gotta get the
have
word out.
a
You gotta
product
have
that
your
people
staff,
want to be
you
at.
gotta, and so we're very proud of our studio. We have amazing staff, amazing teachers. We teach all forms of dance.
I want to come and take a few
specializing in
lessons.
Can we go?
lead
Let's go
following.
together.
Please come. Please be
come.
my guest.
Do you do hip hop? Because I happen to
We
love
do
hip-
hip
I mean,
hop.
do I look like
we
I
do
like
hip
hip
hop,
hop? I love
ballet,
hip hop.
salsa, cha-cha. We do
salsa.
all ballroom dances. And then we have parties on Thursday. I think we do a class from 7 to 7:45, and 7:45 we turn the lights down and we have some hors d'oeuvres and
How much
people can just
fun.
dance. It's fun, and dancing
That's fun.
is a talk about lifestyle. It's like getting out and moving and dancing. It gives you endorphins. I've been working in the entertainment business in front of the camera for years, but I think in the 2 years I've been doing the dance studio, I realized I changed more people's lives with that, because all of my students come in with whatever problems or issues they have, and they leave with a smile on their face.
I think dancing's the best form of therapy.
With the television work that you've done, and with the modeling, and now with this, what's been your favorite project that you've worked on? That
You know,
you've really
I've been
embraced?
I've had a real diverse career, but my favorite thing to do is to make independent films and produce them. I'm actually leaving tomorrow to go back to Montana. It'll be the fourth movie I'm doing with my partner.
Is it
from Oracle
sci-fi?
Films.
'Cause I know you do
this
quite
one
a
is
bit
gonna
of
be
work
called.
in-
It's a sci-fi genre film. We're looking for a theatrical release. And I get to save the world, which is always fun. And I just
Are you
met
starring in it as well?
Yeah, I am. I'm playing the male
Fantastic.
lead. I just met my female lead today,
exciting.
and I'm just super thrilled. And for me, it's fun because I get to spend time with people I like to be with.
Yeah.
Like those are my buddies.
Yeah.
And I get to do something that's fun. And we're going to be up in Montana, which is just
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
How long will you be there?
I'll probably be up there for about a month, and then we got to come back down here and knock off another week down here. We have this incredible opening sequence with these Navy SEALs that we got to come out and work with us, and we got a helicopter. It's going to be insane. The opening 10 minutes of the movie, you're going to literally think, holy cow, this is like a giant blockbuster. It's amazing.
How many of these genres? I know you've done about 4. You said 4 sci-fi films.
Oh,
You're going to start to be
yeah.
getting to be the guy who does the sci-fi stuff.
I've done a lot of verses. Cowboys versus dinosaurs, Dinocroc versus Supergator, Sharktopus versus Terracuda. I love it. And then we got 2 more at the end of the year. Kids talking dog movies. I've done 3 talking dog movies. We're gonna have a 4th at the end of the year. So
I love the talking dog thing.
I like it. For me, it's fun. That's what I like to spend my time doing.
I just got that we got a cut, so I feel so badly because this hour has gone so quickly.
It flew by.
It was so wonderful to meet you. It was so great to meet you.
Thank
When do
you.
you
My
come
pleasure.
back?
I'll be back at the middle of June.
Okay, will you come back in? I'd
Yes,
love
and
to.
please
will
come
you,
to
I
my
want to come
studio.
dance,
Come
and
dance.
bring your wife
LA
next
Ballroom
time if
Dance
she has
Studio.
any time. That'd be
Yeah,
really
yeah,
fun. All right,
yeah.
everybody, and thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
and
having me.
and you know, getting through the traffic. So anyway, thanks everybody for another really fun edition of Kobylt and Friends. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.